It is time to shine some light and show some appreciation to the most underrated team in the NBA, and that is the Toronto Raptors. I don't know why no one's talking about them. I have no idea why. They are fourth in the East right now. They're tied with the Knicks. All right, they have a better record than the Cavaliers, than the Philadelphia 76ers, than the Orlando Magic, the Atlanta Hawks, who some of those teams, like myself, like I said the Hawks and the Magic were going to be like top 3 seeded team, all right? Dude, and Toronto's better than them. Now those teams are absolutely trash. So those teams are terrible. But still, Toronto is playing fantastic and no one is talking about it, and I don't know why. This team really got no attention in the offseason. I don't really think they made any big moves, but still, they got no attention in the preseason, and it seems to me like no one's been talking about the Toronto Raptors all year, despite the fact that they have been playing fantastic all year. I mean, I looked at the preseason odds for the Raptors to win a championship. They had the same odds as like the Nets and the Wizards. Well, maybe it wasn't that bad, but they were 19th in the odds to win the title, which is like play-in lottery team level. And this team is a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. And that was what their expectation was, at least all I could find, because there was really no expectations for this team. No one was talking about them, and still no one is talking about them. And I don't know why, but we got to talk about them. We got to talk about the Toronto Raptors because they currently have 2 players on the team having all-star caliber seasons, and we're going to get to them in a second. But first, we're going to talk about this. 4th in the East, 29-19. Once again, that's better than the Cavs, better than the Sixers. That's better than the Magic, better than the Hawks. Again, a lot of teams that had some pretty big expectations, some of them. I mean, there was a lot of people saying the Cavaliers were going to win the East, and they didn't do that, and they're not going to do that. Offensive rating. Let's talk about the offensive rating. This is actually, I looked this up right before filming. It's actually way lower than I expected. I don't know. I would expect it to be like top 12 at least. They're 18th in offensive rating. It's kind of crazy to me because when I look at their roster, and I haven't watched a ton of Raptors basketball. I've watched some games, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I have watched, all of their games or even half their games this season. But when you look at their roster, it's a lot of offensive players. Brandon Ingram, what do you think about Brandon Ingram? Scoring. RJ Barrett, what do you think about? Scoring. Emmanuel Quickley, at least I think about scoring. So they got Scotty Barnes. He's a 20 points per game scorer. So when you look at their roster, you might think, hey, this team seems like they'd be pretty high on offensive rating. They're 18th. But what they are top 10 in, what they are actually top 5 in, the 5th ranked defense in the NBA. And you want to know why? A big part of that, of them being the 5th ranked offense in the NBA, Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, one of the best two-way players in basketball. He is the best defender on this team, night in, night out. He is great on offense. Scotty Barnes is currently averaging 19.5 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block. He has a plus-minus of 109, which is higher than Luka Doncic. He has a plus-minus of 109, higher than Luka Doncic on this season. He is having an all-star season. No doubt about it. He's having an all-NBA season. Scotty Barnes probably should be on the all-NBA list. And then we got to talk about his co-star, Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, another guy having an all-star season, averaging 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for this basketball team. Now, Brandon Ingram last year was traded to the Raptors. And I wasn't really paying attention to the Raptors last season. So I hadn't realized until this season started that Brandon Ingram actually played no games for them last year. I didn't realize he was hurt because I paid less attention to the Pelicans than I did to the Raptors to even know that. But what I do know is I think he was traded for a bag of chips. I think he was traded for Bruce Brown and maybe Kelly Olynyk or someone. I don't know. He was traded for basic. The Toronto Raptors got an all-star, Brandon Ingram, a 21 points per game scorer, for nothing. Nothing. They gave up nothing. They gave up Bruce Brown. The Pelicans don't even have him anymore. They gave up Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk. The Pelicans don't have either of them anymore. So, number one, what are the Pelicans doing? Number two, that is insane. That is insane. And I want to highlight somebody else. I want to highlight the rookie. I think he was the 9th pick in the draft, Colin Murray Boyles. CMB is having a pretty solid rookie season. When you look at the numbers, nothing too crazy. But he has started 13 games. He has started 13 games for the Toronto Raptors. He's averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.6 stocks. That is blocks plus steals per game, in case you don't know. But Colin Murray Boyles, when I have watched the Raptors, he has been pretty good. And I think he will continue to be good, maybe even be a starting caliber center one day. I don't think it's crazy to say that about Colin Murray Boyles. But speaking of these centers, Jakob Poeltl is the Toronto Raptors starting center. He has missed 21 games. That's like half the Toronto Raptors games this far in this season. He's missed 21 games, and this is another thing I want to highlight about Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, I have seen Scotty Barnes start games as the starting center. All right, like Scotty Barnes is doing it all out there. All right, he's scoring, he's playmaking, he's the best defender on the team, he's starting center. All right, and another thing I want to highlight is 2 starters for this team have missed like half the season. Jakob Poeltl has missed 21 games. RJ Barrett has missed 25 games. That's the starting center and the starting small forward, shooting guard, whichever position he plays. And they're still 4th in the East. They're still 4th in the East. That is crazy to me. That's how good they're playing. They're missing 2 starters. Kind of consistently, they're missing 2 starters. And they're still playing this good. You know, their coach, Darko Rajakovic, I think he's a great coach. And I think apparently there was like some doubt going into this season about whether he could actually coach winning basketball in the NBA. I don't know. I think I saw Kenny Beecham say that. I don't know if he was quoting someone else or if that was maybe just his own thoughts. But Darko Rajakovic has proven to be a pretty good head coach. And I love when I see videos of him after games in the locker room, and he's just yelling and screaming and all hyped up about winning. There's this one, he like screams right in Scotty Barnes' face, and Scotty Barnes gets like so scared. He looks terrified, but he's a pretty good coach in my opinion, and he must be a fantastic coach if 2 starters are missing from this lineup pretty consistently, and they're 4th in the Eastern Conference again, tied with the New York Knicks. As a matter of fact, the Raptors play the Knicks tonight. So that'll be interesting to see how that game goes. And we got to mention some of the quality players on this team as well, like Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley had 40 points on just spectacular efficiency. Was it against the Thunder or was it a couple games before that? I don't know, but it was a Wilt Chamberlain stat. It was like Wilt Chamberlain, SGA, and Emmanuel Quickley were the only players in history to drop 40 points on the efficiency that they did, and that's crazy. And then they have players like Jamal Shed. They have players like, I mentioned Colin Murray Boyles, Grady Dick. They've all been playing pretty solid. Like this Raptors team, maybe this is why no one was really talking about them. You don't really look at it and think it's gonna work. Like I don't. Maybe, but I don't look at this team and think they're 18th in offense and 5th in defense. I'd maybe think those numbers are swapped. 5th in offense, 18th in defense, just when you look at it, when you look at who their starters are supposed to be, this team has been playing great, and it's good to see because, I'm a Scotty Barnes fan, so I like to see the Raptors do good. But, the Toronto Raptors playing fantastic basketball. And you know what? They could kind of maybe be like the Pacers were last year and go all the way to the finals when no one's expecting it.